Are your hormones the things that are stopping you from losing weight? Ladies, it's Greg. I wanted to talk about this subject that gets really heated. I wanted to share a story of one of my clients who has always struggled. She struggled with this before. Um, she was a senior HR professional and was in that perimenopausal state. Felt like her hormones were changing, her body was changing, everything was changing, and she didn't understand what to do. Okay. And if you've ever, been in that situation where it's like my hormones are changing, things like my menstrual cycle are changing, all of this stuff is changing, and you're like, right, well, what do I do now? Like, I'm stuck. And it's always weird because there's always this feeling of being stuck, I think, which is what holds ladies back from getting the results they want. So, this client, and I'll share her name in a second, we jumped on a call and I think the important thing was that she had the space to be able to say, yeah, do you know what, Greg? This is what's really going on. Because these are the kind of conversations I have with clients. And if you're watching, come say hi. Um, the conversations normally start off exactly like this. And you probably had these conversations in your mind before, right? Hey, I want to lose weight and I feel like my hormones have changed. I feel like I eat really healthy, but nothing seems to be working. Who's ever said that? Drop a comment below. Who's ever said that? And I'm going to come and say hello to people in a second. Who's ever said those lines that I'm eating really healthy, but nothing seems to be working? Who's ever said that? Of course you have, right? It's kind of the standard thing that everyone says. Okay. So, one of the keys to, I guess, this whole conversation I had with this client was, she was into her mid 40s, really extremely busy. So, she's like a senior HR manager. And she used to run all the time. She was a runner. She used to run miles and miles each week, but just couldn't shift the weight. So, of course, in her desperation, she's thinking, well, Greg, it's got to be my hormones. It's got to be, there's something outside of my control that means that I can't fix it. And that's where the magic is for many people. Many people are struggling because they've taken the power away from themselves. They've taken the power away from themselves by saying things like, I can't lose weight because of my hormones. I can't lose weight because of X. I can't lose weight without whatever it is. Okay. So when you do that, what you're doing then is taking away your power, the power that you have within you to make changes to your life. Because then you can change your nutrition, you can change your sleep, you can change your stress, you can change all of those things. But if you take the power away from yourself and say, well, it's something external to me that I can't change. And this is what happens when I hear ladies say, Greg, my hormones have changed and this is why I can't lose weight. Now, of course, if there is a deeper hormonal issue that we can't fix, then of course we need to investigate that further. But I would say 99% of the time that I've worked with ladies, and I've been doing this for a long time, it must be, 20 odd years I've been helping ladies feel their best, get strong, feel empowered about their bodies, which is incidentally my new program, the Empowered Body Method. I've noticed one thing: the ones that get awesome results are the ladies that say, no, do you know what? I'm going to work with you and I'm going to make the changes that I know I can make to get the results. Does that make sense? Comment below if that makes sense to you. I'm going to make the changes that I know are within my power to change. Because I think what happens is we just give away power. We just give it away. It's my hormones. I can't get to the gym. Work's busy. So all of these things then become outside your control. So what this lady, and just going back to the story, had said to me was, well, she felt like she was always working. She felt that, she's either working or running. That was all. She had routines in her life that were holding her back. So she had routines that weren't aligned with the person, that she wanted to become. And I'll say that again. The things that she was doing weren't aligned to the person that she wanted to become. So, what does that mean? Well, it's this: we can't have the things that we want in our lives, the bigger career, the better relationships, the ability to enjoy experiences with our family and loved ones, if we're not living in a way that's aligned to what we want. And then this is why we then look outside of ourselves for all the answers. So we look at things that we think or feel like we can't control or change. And, if we're looking at the biggest things to improve your hormones, ladies, we know it's going to be some of these things. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting good quality, restful sleep? That's number one. Number two, is your nutrition aligned with what you want? And here's the thing: if you want to become the strong, lean, empowered woman that you want to be and show up like the boss that you want to be, and you want the body that's going to support all of those goals, then your nutrition needs to be on track, right? You can't have the boss life without a nutrition strategy that supports it, and your body's in the middle of those two, right? So if you're struggling with your hormones, the question to ask yourself is my nutrition aligned to the goal that I want? Is my nutrition aligned to the goal that I want? And that's a really hard question to say. I did a post earlier today where I talked about your belief versus the facts, stories versus facts. So often, and this is the first thing I always do with a client, is I want to assess exactly what's going on. Because when we're assessing, we're not guessing. Guessing is something that holds so many of us back from what's going on. Greg, I eat healthy. Okay, but does that actually mean you're eating aligned to the goals you want? Greg, I train hard. Well, are you training actually in the way that you should be? I.e., are you lifting the right weight? Are you taking enough rest? So when I dig down into those things, we start to uncover what's really going on. Okay, so next one, are we hydrated? Are we actually really hydrated to the level that we should be so that our digestion works, our blood is running nicely, all the other chemical things that happen in our life, or everything happens in water. So the question is, well, am I hydrated? Every chemical reaction in our body happens in the presence of water. So the question then is, yeah, am I hydrated? How am I getting fresh air, sunlight every day? Am I doing that? And these are really tough questions to answer, because what it is that it becomes, we have to talk about what we're doing, not what's happening to us. And that's a very big shift. And I've, looked at the ladies that I work with, and you can see very clearly how they get results is because they're very willing to look at what they're actually doing right now. They have the space, the freedom to be open and honest and vulnerable about what is actually going on. The other day I spent, 20 minutes after a group call with my clients and talking to a client about what was going on for her. And, she was obviously upset and teary, but that was fine. That's great. Those are the conversations that are going to move you forward, because you have to be open and honest and willing to share. So back to my client. Um, so, she broke down in tears during this call, and she was very vulnerable about what was going on and how it was making her feel. So we started off in the first place. We assessed what was going on with her. Spent the first week and a half actually just assessing what was going on. Number two, we then sat back down and said, let's review what's going on and let's make one or two changes over the next week to start moving you forward towards the goal. Okay, so other diet plans, what they'll do is just go, here's your calories, here's the diet plan, off you go. No, assess and we make a plan together. Because it's not my plan, it's your plan. I'm the guide. I'm the one that's going to help you on the journey. So we sat down, We went through what happened that week. We looked for triggers in her week, right? We looked for, where are the days where she seems to eat more? Were they stressful days? Were the days where she didn't sleep properly? Then we made 1 or 2 actions that she could focus on that week so she didn't get overwhelmed. Okay. And it actually turned out, here was an interesting thing. Twice a day, she was having fairly high calorie coffees, Starbucks, Costa. So we said, okay, could we reduce those to one or none? Or could we start, making coffee at home? And she was like, well, actually, you know what? I can make a coffee and go for a walk. Perfect. So in that, we've got reduced stress, reduced calorie intake. Okay. The other thing, what could we do? So we've seen a few pictures of her food. What could we do to change the composition of her food? Not change the food she ate, but change the composition of her food to get better results. We made one change. We just said, right, can we add some more vegetables to your plate this week? It's like, yeah, I can do that. Because if you're a busy professional woman or an entrepreneur or business owner, as a woman, you've got so many plates to spin. You're spinning plates constantly. There's one plate here, business plate, the family plate, the elderly parent plate. Also trying to sort out your stuff. So the goal is to always give you 1 or 2 things to move you forward. Within a week, there's already an inch off her stomach. And I remember going to, we had a third coaching call, and she said, Greg, I can't believe it. I was doing all of this exercise. I was thinking it was my hormones. And actually, she needed to just start making changes in her daily life that could get her to where she wanted to be. But she did it from a place of, I'm empowered and I want to be able to make changes, not from a place of, let me give power to something that I can't control. So, ladies, if you're watching this and this resonates with you, drop a hell yeah, so I know. And I just want to leave you with this point. Is it your hormones? Or are there things that you need to look at in your daily life that you can change now, this instant, to get you the result you want to have? I'd argue that there are things you can change. And if you need help doing so and putting together a plan and having the accountability and the support and the space to become strong, fit, lean, and empowered in the way you want to be, then drop me a message. Then we'll talk about how I can help you. So I hope this was useful. Drop a comment if this has resonated with you, and I'll speak to you very soon. Habits over hormones.